It's now time to bring you the feature on the show today, as we'll be looking at the statement by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Sylva, that presidential assent of the Petroleum Industry Bill will put an end to the overburdening petrol subsidy era in the country. He made the announcement while speaking in Abuja at a Nigeria Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries 50 Years of the Partnership press conference. He insists that it is best for Nigeria that the federal government discontinues subsidy on petrol, stressing that the recently passed PIB has no provision for subsidy. Petrol subsidy gobs on an average about 150 billion naira monthly, a trend which adds to the debt overhang around the economy. The minister also further adds that the removal of subsidy has also the potential of unlocking a lot of more funds that should be deployed to the development of the country. The minister also notes that the government would begin the rehabilitation of the Warri and Kaduna refineries soon in order to increase domestic refining of petrol and to also cushion the impact of subsidy removal. He also says upper quota given to Nigeria for crude oil production in the month of June this year was 1.554 million barrels per day, and that the quota system has helped in balancing oil prices globally. Nigeria so far has been caught in the web as the labor unions as well continue to argue against fuel subsidy removal. Well, joining me now via Skype to discuss this and much more, I have energy analyst Balazaka. Good to have you on the Breakfast Show this morning.
Thank you and good morning.
Now, with this announcement that once we have presidential assent to the PIB following the passage, we are going to have the stop to subsidy regime. But going by the need for social support cushions, how much of a task ahead would you say government has in terms of ensuring that with the removal of the subsidy, we don't have too much of a harsh bite on the average Nigerian, hence the need for social support?
Well, it's very, very unfortunate that despite all the presentations and the submissions that people have been making, and I'm talking about loyal Nigerians trying to caution this government, trying to caution our economic leaders, that this removal of subsidy without adequate plans on ground is going to throw Nigeria into political, economic, and social anarchy. And it seems our leaders don't want to listen. I think all we have to do now is to apply the concept of wait and see. But I mean, I think we've spoken enough, we've analyzed enough. I mean, you're talking about a country of 200 million citizens relying on less than 7,000 megawatts of electricity to generate power. You're talking about a country that has not been able to maintain refineries or build new ones in the last 31 years or so. We're talking about a country that is suffering from business climate hostilities. We're talking about a country where inflation is very high. You're talking about a country where our balance of trade is heading towards zero. We're talking basically about a country where the citizens are groaning under serious economic pains. And if with all the analysis and presentations our leaders feel the best thing to do is to remove the subsidy, then we're just going to adopt the concept of wait and see. But it will be very, very unfortunate if this country eventually gets thrown into economic, social, and political anarchy.
Okay, now, going by the price template we already have and then understanding market forces in terms of oil price rally and all of those conversations we have on the global front now, the landing cost of petrol is getting more expensive. So now, if you were to put a price peg, take for example, the argument has been between 250, 260 naira per litre. That's quite a jump from 162 to 165 naira per litre. The average Nigerian is paying for. So the cyclical trend is that we're going to have increase in transportation, increase in food items, increases everywhere, really. Do you think we understand the gravity of how much of an increment or the inflation report would have next? Because this would definitely threaten the reversal of inflation we've had so far. So what do you think we can do now in terms of checkmating this phenomenon and not necessarily having an outrage on the part of the average Nigerian who would have to pay much more this time around, about 100 naira extra for fuel?
Well, our leaders that are insisting on making sure subsidy is removed are the right people to probably answer that question. Our leaders that are still insisting that our deregulation must be import focused and dependent are the people to answer that kind of question. Our leaders that are insisting that knowing that Nigeria is a member of OPEC, and nearly all OPEC countries have refineries, but we don't have any that is functional, are those to answer that kind of question. Our leaders that have been insisting that yes, the diesel has been deregulated, and have forgotten that nearly all medium and other producers or those who are industrialists have closed shops, are those to answer that question. Our leaders that have been lying to us that the reason why we are importing so much petrol now is because we are losing the petrol through smuggling at the borders, are those to honestly answer your question. But as far as I'm concerned, we are not losing any petrol to the borders, because we all know the calamities that people are experiencing, especially the pandemic. We've not even exited the pandemic. Virtually everybody is working at home now. People work virtually. So I can buy 25 liters of petrol and use it for 2 weeks for my car, because I don't even need to go out. But I need to interact online, and I need energy. There is no electricity. So I have to rely on diesel or petrol. I wouldn't be surprised as you're speaking to me if your studio is running on diesel. So all those are leaders that are saying diesel has been deregulated and people are not complaining. Maybe they've not gone to industrialists. They've not come to commercial sectors like you. They've not gone to domestic sectors to ask. I mean, we wanted to talk about even cooking gas. 12 kg, 12.5 kg of cooking gas is about 4,500. It's heading towards 5,000. So our leaders, honestly, are those to answer that your question, because all they are trying to do now is to create a wound and start looking for drugs or treatment for that wound. What if the wound eventually becomes cancerous? Honestly, it is very strange that our economic leaders don't want to listen. Nigeria is groaning in pains. Nigerian economy is almost prostrate, and our debt is continuously ballooning. And our leaders are saying they want to take that action. I'm only praying and hoping that Mr. President will not assent to that bill, because the last hope of Nigerians now is Mr. President. He can save this country from grinding into anarchy by making sure we dot the I's.
Mr. Zaka, if I may button here, that's a personal opinion that you are expressing there, but the conversation, it makes no economic sense really to continue with this subsidy regime. That's the argument we've had from so many analysts. But now let's also talk about the statement from the Petroleum Minister as well, looking at rehabilitation of the Warri as well as Kaduna refineries. He termed it as they would soon have the rehabilitation done. For some people, this statement comes as feels the pulse of talk is just cheap. Really, we've not necessarily seen a change in the body language of the government towards ensuring that we have aggressive investment in the oil and gas sector, rehabilitation of our refineries, or even have our production levels hit the levels that would make sure that even if we have oil price rally, the average Nigerian will buy fuel cheaper. Do you think this is just talk?
Well, if we match it with action, it is achievable. And everything I'm saying is my personal opinion, but as a loyal Nigerian citizen. I mean, when you look at the economic indices and the variables, I mean, things are bad. And you need Nigerians to be able to survive, to carry out activities that will make them to be able to live up to their civic responsibilities of paying royalty, taxes, and levies for government to generate revenues. But everybody knows that, I mean, refining is basic chemistry. As far as I'm concerned, refining is not as complex as even heart surgery or kidney transfer. And if we cannot, at this stage we're talking, refine with the abundance of the crude oil we have, what can anybody tell me again? I mean, we are at the least beneficial chain of production. I mean, we should be talking about transforming our resources into finished goods or products. So anybody who keeps saying, remember, our deregulation is even based on imports. And we know the value of the naira. The naira is sinking due to devaluation or depreciation. And that was why I said it's going to be a question of wait and see. But I will appreciate it if energy journalists like you will call people like me for an interview in a year's time from now, after we've gone into subsidy removal concept, and let us analyze. And I also hope and pray that those who are insisting that deregulation should go now, should come in and subsidy should go, will be alive and be there to discuss in a year's time. And I pray that the economy will still be able to recover. But by all forms of analysis, my personal opinion is that this country's economy will further get prostrated, and the economy citizens will be thrown into social and economic anarchy.
No doubt the fragility of the economy is glaring, and we cannot but put our best foot forward in terms of having as much as possible social support and infrastructure development to ensure that we have a level playing field that will be able to support any sort of economic recovery. If we don't do what's expected or what's right, well, we'll just continue to have to deal with a level of crisis beyond our control. Thank you very much for your time on The Breakfast Show this morning. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Bala Zaka.
Thank you.